Good morning, I'm Andrew Mills and I'm the founder of the Digital Cafe Network and also the founder of Data Mills UK Limited. So basically I'm here with Rik this morning. We've been running Digital Cafe now for the best part of nearly 3-4 years.
Got to be close to 3 years.
I think the event itself has been running now, we've done about 70 odd different events. So you've been supporting it for at least. This morning I really want to sort of go sort of behind the speaker and sort of go, as I said, you've supported us for that long. We've heard that you're great at sharing stuff. You've got a massive amount of knowledge that you're just trying to cram pack into each one, and often struggling with timekeeping to keep things in. And obviously, we kicked off Digital Cafe this season with the 5 fundamentals of social media.
Yeah.
And this time we're going to go deeper on the 17th of October on LinkedIn. But before that, tell us about Rik. Who's Rik? Where are you from? And background, family, the lot.
Good. Well, I mean, Rik is a father of 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, married, happily, and I've been in marketing for 23 years, and absolutely love what I do. I think that's why I'm kind of so energetic when I'm delivering. I'm like one of those little ever-ready bunnies just popping about the whole place. It's kind of it's best way I think
conjures up those that sort of rows and rows of those bunnies banging their drum.
That's exactly what I feel like. I feel like I'm banging the drum trying to educate people, because I really feel like people should be doing it themselves. But yeah, 23 years in the industry before even the Apple Mac became part or a fundamental part of what we do. And as soon as the computer come on board, and we was using ISDN at that moment in time, which was like a phone line sending information from where I was in an office to a printer, I'm thinking there's got to be something really exciting coming with this moving forward. It's got to come into like the public domain, and I always had that kind of knowledge that was going to happen one day. And then was born the internet, and where I got that free serve disc, and I used to take it. The amount of discs I used to lose and take from Dixon's was unbelievable. I used to have to go into town on a regular basis to try and get that disc again. And I kind of even felt then, even when it took probably 20 minutes to send a 1 meg file, that the internet was going to play a major part.
And it's changed a heck of a lot since those days, hasn't it? To now where we're constantly engaged, be it on a mobile or your tablets, and now we're having to sort of trying to rein our kids back from sort of being addicted to these devices. Or is that an issue that you have with your kids, that they're sort of screen focused? It's a modern problem, isn't it, for parenting these days?
I think it is a modern problem, but I think we'll come to a point where we'll understand the internet a little bit more. It's 20 years in, I think we are properly into it, or 15 officially. But I just think that going back many years, there's always been these like progressional transitions where, we didn't like Elvis. We thought he was the devil at one point. You know what I mean? And we struggled to listen to his music because it was just sinful. But now we've got the internet where that we assume that is really, really sinful. And it's just, for me, it's just a necessary evil. We should learn how to use the internet. It's not giving us everything that we want from it right this moment in time. And I think there's a hell of a lot it will give us in the not too distant future. I think we should learn to use it properly rather than berate it and criticize it. I mean, I've got customers now that absolutely hate the internet, but grateful for Facebook because it accounts for 60% of their take. 60% of their take.
That's massive, isn't it?
It's huge. It's huge. But like the internet's killed off retail, and I think we should tax it, but not Facebook because it brings you business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So obviously we've just covered a bit about social media and the fact that you obviously at your events you encourage people to sort of be up at the crack of dawn, do 20 odd minutes, half an hour posting on whatever platforms are involved with one thing or another. So taking that aside, do you ever have any spare time for hobbies or anything like that?
No, I love what I do, and I wake up every morning running, bouncing, skipping to work because I think my work is my hobby. And when you love what you do and you can do it for 17 hours a day, it's never a chore. Yep, I get pressures. Yes, I've got expectations on me, bills to pay, staff to take care of and things like that, and I take them very, very seriously. But all of that stuff I love. So my work is my hobby.
So here's a question then. So if you turn the internet off and there was no social media, what would you do with your time?
I would still be creating and and creating artwork, messages, things that people are switched on by, and going back 15 years when before the internet, before it really kicked off. That's exactly what my job was to create beautiful pieces of artwork, and graphic design and brochures and leaflets and business cards, that people thought, I'm going to stop, take note of this business, and do business with these people. And I think that's why I get up at crack of dawn. Even now, I think that's why I'm in it so much, is because my message is, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be successful? How bad do you want to be, at one point in your life, have the freedom to be able to do actually what you want to do eventually? We're all going to get to a point where we have to slow down, and we would like to spend the rest of our lives relaxing, and it just depends for how long and how much fun you want to have when you get there.
Okay, and now I've got another on the spot question for you. Right, okay, what's your oldest child's name? Finley, okay. And obviously, like myself, I've got 3 kids. I went on a youth camp last year out to Castleton, and whilst I was there, I was brought up to the front, and they thought it was like do you remember the old Mr. and Mrs. game?
I do.
Where you were asked a question about well, in this case it was about my child Daniel, and in doing so I was asked, what's his favourite colour? So I'm going to turn turtles. What's your child's favourite colour?
Black and grey.
Black and grey.
At the moment, I know that answer. I know all of my kids' favourite colours because we've just moved, and that's a cheat. Do you know
That's a cheat.
It's a bit of a cheat.
Well, I went for the usual reds and blues and things, and found it was orange.
That's Joel's favourite colour. My second son. Yeah.
All right, you're a better man than I when it comes to
Listen, it's only because we're decorating their room only just last week, and we're walking through IKEA, and I can hear Mum saying, "Right, what colour cushions do you want?" And I just thought, okay, then that's your favourite colour. Ordinarily, I wouldn't know. And it's one of those things where I think we're made to feel ashamed of that kind of stuff, and I just think we shouldn't really, because it's tough, isn't it? Making a living, it's tough paying bills, and I really don't like the idea that we should feel ashamed for working really, really hard and wanting the very best for my family. My dad worked very, very hard. I very much doubt he knew what my favourite colour was, and I love him very much and miss him dearly. No, absolutely no less respect for him than maybe my children have for me as well.
So you just touched on the fact that your father previously. What did your father do? Why did you go from where he is to where you are now?
It wasn't an easy decision to make. My dad was a concrete reinforcer. He worked on building sites. And throughout college, and even at school, to be honest with you, from the age of 14, 15, I worked on a site. Probably shouldn't have been doing that, but I was able to read architectural drawings. I was able to sort of literally build steel beams and sort of put them in the ground. And my dad assumed that I was going to go into the business, which at that point was called Rik Courtney and Sons. He purposely called it and Sons to try and hopefully I went that route, because from such a young age, like I say, I was easily able to read drawings and get it, but I wanted to be a designer. I'm like, no, Dad, I want to be a designer. And being an old-fashioned Cockney that worked on a building site, he genuinely thought that it was a woman's job to work in an office. That was his answer, and it didn't go down particularly well. And we didn't fall out, but he just didn't talk to me for a bit. But obviously became very proud of me in the end.
So you said and sons? Brothers, sisters?
Two brothers, Sean and Paul, both younger than me. And Paul works for the council, and Sean works for a call centre around the corner, not too far from here.
So being the oldest one in the family, did that bring any problems, sibling rivalry and? Always.
I was always this ambitious. As ambitious as I am now, I was always this ambitious. Always like semi-entrepreneurial, always coming up with the next greatest, biggest thing, always working hard, doing whatever I can for my mum and dad. And I just looked like a creep. I just looked like I was trying to sort of win mum's favour particularly more than the other two were. And their nickname for me were Golden Balls.
Okay. Yes. There's nicknames and nicknames.
There is.
Okay, so a little bit more about the about yourself. Obviously, you've got a team now in here. Do you want to just explain a little bit more about Be More Social and these wonderful offices you've got? I mean, you've obviously got this new podcasting studio, which is used on a regular basis.
Well, I mean, Be More Social started close to 8 or 9 years ago now, and the way we started is the way we've ended up now. I wanted, as soon as I saw that this whole Facebook was going to be a thing, I knew that it would be very powerful for marketing, and genuinely felt from then that it would level the playing field. And after paying or seeing the agencies that I represented pay £50,000 to £100,000 a week or a month on advertising and things like that, I knew it would level the playing fields, because this was free. We can deliver and communicate in a way that was for nothing. But I knew that the transition would have to be educated. So I created Be More Social, and it was a subscription-based model all the way back then, educating people how to do it. I think I had about 5 customers. Nobody thought, in fact, people used to say it's going to be a fad, and to get a proper job and stop chasing. So I then, instead of trying to help the small businesses, I then chased the larger businesses and said, look, social media is here whether you like it or not, and you ought to get on board with it before you miss the boat. And as it happened, that ignited, and we got some pretty large customers up and down the country. We did all right for a short period of time, but my kind of heart and instinct said this was what I really needed to do. And I just pursued it. I decided to kick everything else into touch. Probably not the right thing to do.
So just before we came onto camera, you were saying how many different staff that you've got, different roles. Do you want to introduce some of the team?
Well, we have my very own D-Rock, or David. He is kind of our full-time content creator for Be More Social. He literally follows me wherever I go with a video. He's recording the video here today. Next to him we have Kirsty, who is an art worker. And next to her we have Georgina, who is also an art worker. So as a system, what happens is I create the look and the feel as, I suppose, creative director, and the girls maintain that look and feel and carry it through for our clients. Behind them we have Abby, who is our digital guru, and that is part of our new system, our new way of working. We've created something called the social media food chain, and we take people on that journey, understanding from the fundamental basics right up to the sort of more complex of things, and Abby helps me educate our clients on that. Next to that, Abby, we have a full-time developer that only works on the Be More Social dashboard. We've created a dashboard to help people understand social and to work as an accountability partner, and it's just kind of really taken off. And then next to Daniel, or Roadman, we have Ben, who is our BDM. Very, very soon we'll be having an appointment booker, more BDMs and more people. We look to be taking on about 5 people before Christmas.
So in some respects, these are really good reasons why that on this 17th of October, it's worth people getting actually out of their seat, coming down and meeting you in person, and getting involved with the Digital Cafe Network, which we're wanting people obviously to subscribe to our social media channel, be it on Facebook, be it on LinkedIn. Obviously we are looking at doing a sort of Facebook group, so again people can actually be part of our community side of things, and very much around being able to share the knowledge, not just in social media and not just in podcasting or whatever, but in the wider circle around sort of cyber security. Obviously that's partly my background and IT side of things, but also then within sort of business development and bringing in other experts as well.
I think the reality is like I genuinely wear my heart on my sleeve, and I tell people exactly how it is. You know what I mean? So my version of a LinkedIn workshop is exactly what we do day to day to be able to grow like we have done. What we do day to day to be able to find and identify at least 10, 15, 20 opportunities to speak to somebody every single week. You know, and it's the reason why I speak now across the country, is because I'm not afraid. I'm very vocal on all of the platforms, but particularly LinkedIn, because it's some platforms come in and out of fashion, okay? And for 2019, LinkedIn is the platform. And if you're not using it properly, if if you're not using it in a way in which we're going to discuss on this workshop on the 17th, you're missing out on a huge trick.
Is there any sort of things that you'd, any tidbits you'd want sort of to leave people, so that we sort of like, oh yeah, I've really got to be down for that? Because I mean, obviously I've asked around people and sort of said, what do you want? What should we have as a digital cafe network focus?
Yeah.
And obviously LinkedIn was something that came up, and people said, oh, we want to come down to that because we want to do that bit more. I think everyone's got an account. Everyone knows how to do a simple post, but they're looking for that bit more. What type of bit mores can you bring to the table?
Without giving too much away, there are certain habits that people ought to be doing every single day. And when I say to people, you should be in LinkedIn at least half an hour a day, people, I ain't got time for that. Like, well, why? You know what I mean? That you should create a positive habit that puts you inside that space on a daily basis, if not 15 minutes with your cup of tea when you get into work at 9 o'clock, and just before you turn the computer off later on in the day for another 15 minutes. At the very least, this is your business or your opportunities that you're missing out on. And we have a checklist that we deliver on the workshop. And some of those things are outreaching to people, strategically engaging with people on a regular basis, because much like you and I are having a conversation now, forging a relationship, you can do the same on LinkedIn as well. There's plenty meaningful interaction happening on this space right at this moment in time. People booking appointments, getting meetings. We've even sold over LinkedIn without even meeting anybody. It's absolutely crazy what people are literally missing out on. They think they're doing it, but when they come to the workshop, they realise actually they're missing out on a lot. And when I'm delivering it, I sometimes get embarrassed because it's common sense, but in reality, it's just like a bit of a shake-up.
And I think also, having been at Digital Cafe and obviously been in the seminar, everyone is different.
Yeah.
So I think those people who've gone, oh, I've heard Rik before, I engage with Rik online, one thing or another. I think for people who I suggest is like, just come down to the event, because every situation is different, every event's different. Rik has got a wonderful sort of bag of knowledge that he just shares in so many different ways, and it's taking that, and it's just it can make a massive impact in your business if you just take the action to do so.
That's it. And I think I encourage people to ask questions as well, because that's how you're going to get the very most out of this session. And like you say, in large they're different because we get so many different people coming to them and they ask very different questions, and no answer's stupid and no answer's ever the same, to be honest with you.
So Rik, I want to thank you for your time this morning, and it's been great to sort of understand a little bit more about, I said I've heard you so many times, but it's nice to know a little bit more about you and also be more social.
Thank you
so
very
I
much.
look forward to 17th of October. Great.
Cheers, Andrew.
All right,
Thank you.
take care. Thank you.